Good evening, everybody. David Jackson coming to you here on Tuesday, October 8th with a quick Boone Area Chamber of Commerce evening check-in and some big news today. Want to talk to you a little bit about that overall process and what that means for us going forward. So in case you missed it, Appalachian State University through Interim Chancellor Dr. Heather Norris announced plans for their return to campus after fall break concludes on October 16th. There are a variety of points to that the university has shared with its constituents this evening. That is students, faculty, and staff. And tomorrow we expect more information to come out about the coordinated process that was. I know that a number of you have seen this, especially those of you that are in the high country. So I wanted to address a couple of things this evening for there to be some kind of things to think about before broader messaging about this comes out tomorrow. So let's first of all talk about the process. The Boone Area Chamber of Commerce was invited to be a part of this discussion by Chancellor Norris and her team, and we thank their ability to do so. And we've been in constant communication with campus, along with the town and the county and the city of the town of Blowing Rock throughout this entire process. Right, this has been a very coordinated conversation and one that's very complex, has lots of moving parts, and is by no means easy to deal with, right? We're talking about circumstances in our community that have never happened before or have happened on a scale that we have not seen in decades, right? So the coordinated effort to restore infrastructure, first and foremost on everybody's mind, and there's nobody that can deny that. And we have been fortunate that here in this community, that infrastructure has improved quite a bit over the last several days. We have been blessed with some incredibly good weather here and have been blessed with an amazing amount of outreach from the volunteers that are helping people get back into their homes and assess the damage to their property and to their businesses, but also the FEMA personnel that have been here, the Small Business Administration folks that have arrived in town and have begun to work with our business community, and all the other support agencies that are helping put this community back together. We've been fortunate to have an abundance of resource. All of the donations, all of those things have helped us get to the point where amongst a large group of folks today, the university was able to outline its plan, and that plan was able to be endorsed by those that were in the room from Watauga County, again, from the town of Boone, from the town of Blowing Rock, and certainly the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. Now, with that said, I think there's an opportunity for us to see this as an important and careful step forward. I think all of us are a little bit nervous because we've been through so much. If you aren't from here and are watching this, I can't even begin to tell you what we've been through from a mental load, right? This isn't something that happened and one day it was on one day and it was over the next day. We've been carrying this with us for a while. Those that have had damage to their properties, damage to their businesses, they've lost their job because of disruption, that they haven't been able to come to this community that they love so much. And those of us that have been working in the response element of this, it's a lot, right? So this decision did not come lightly, and it was made with some precision. And with that, I think the expectations of what this means are also very important. So I'm going to say this from a business perspective. This is going to bring our students back. Our faculty and staff back to campus. This is going to be a quick infusion as this process begins this weekend. This is going to be a return to some of those faces that are so familiar. For some of you, you're getting your staff back, and you're going to want to check on them and love on them a little bit before we see them go back to class and go back about their business. So I would ask that people be mindful of that we need a transition of this very important part of our community back here to get them settled. These people were whisked away very quickly as they left the community after the initial devastation. And so coming back here is not going to be an easy remembrance for a little bit, but we need to let them get settled and let them get situated, okay? And as we see this process move forward well with incredible coordination from campus, they have laid out instructions for their staff, faculty, and students and kind of expectations and some great guidance for them. They have been working on helping those that have been displaced with housing, and the university is coordinating that effort. They have a resource hub that has been working pretty much nonstop since all of this occurred back about 10 days ago or so, and they are going to be the resource for their students, faculty, and staff to be able to figure out housing if they've been displaced, or figure out the different nuances to their schedule that may be a little bit different than it was when they left here a few weeks ago. So we thank the university for taking on that, and also infusing a lot of community support within that effort as well. So as that happens, we're going to see an uptick in business. That's going to be helpful for the businesses that, again, rely on this tourism time to be the time that they make their hibernating money. We talked about that earlier this week. But I think we also have to be very careful in how we step forward this approach. We cannot just see a flood of October all of a sudden just show up here. That would not only be disrespectful to the people that are still dealing with the challenges that they are in other parts of our county and region, but it would simply overwhelm the infrastructure that's still coming back together. As I've said before, this is not the same community that you left before. We have to be mindful and measured and respectful in the approach that we take in coming back here. Some of the people that you will interact with when you come back to the community, into your favorite businesses, while they're going to be happy to see you and they're going to be happy to be back in that job, they're also some of the same people that are living on a roommate's couch or a friend's couch, or they're living in a different place because they lost their home and their belongings, and they're dealing with those issues. So be mindful about that, right? They're going to be wearing some baggage when you come and see them, and that's to be expected, right? But I'll also say that the people that have been in contact with our community, they've donated the things, they've donated money, they've propped up these nonprofit organizations and other community organizations that are doing incredible work. It's those people who, when they walk through the door, they will lift up our spirits. When they walk through the door, they're going to be able to provide for us some of the healing that we need for a community. And quite honestly, bringing some resemblance of whatever normal is going to become, they're going to bring that, because there's going to be a little bit of return to the normal cadence. It's not going to look normal. There are parts of this community that you're not going to be able to access for quite some time. And that is the reality of the situation that we're working in. But we also know that there have been parts of our community that have responded quickly to getting their core infrastructure back in place. They have resumed power. They have gotten their all of their issues, for the most part, taken care of. And we need to keep people employed. We need to keep our economy functioning. There are parts of this disaster that are very much going to be FEMA reimbursable, and there are going to be a lot of these things that are not, if we're not careful. And part of that is employment. And some of these seasonal employees rely on the season. They move from place to place. So we've got to be respectful about that process beginning. We've got to be respectful in the way that we are encouraging you to use our community. We need our hotel and tourism network in a lot of ways. Our hotel network especially is filled with displaced families. They're filled with aid workers that are here. There are going to be limited opportunities for that traditional lodging that you're looking for. So thinking about how you can day trip it up here for a while, and those kinds of things as visitors begin to return. I think those are things that we're going to talk about more as time moves on, as we move through a transition, and then certainly as conditions improve, things will improve. And hopefully by the time we get a little bit deeper in to the back half of the year here, we're going to begin to feel a little bit more like we did before. But I caution you to use the word normal, because it's not. But I think that the university taking this step forward and doing so in a careful way that they have, there goes my light again. See, this is the issue that we get here at the chamber sometimes at night. There it is. The careful way that the university has gone about this is going to help us be able to really think about how this is going to come together, and the proper steps to make as we make the next step, whatever that happens to be. All right. So I'm going to stop. There's going to be more tomorrow. I just want you to know we've heard from a lot of businesses today, and they're feeling that, right? They've got staff members that are dealing with things. They're dealing with things themselves. Some of them are trying to relocate, but they also know that there has to be a balance there, right? They've got to get back to the way of doing things, and the outreach from off the mountain has carried us to this point. And it's allowed us to get to this point. And we remain incredibly gracious. I said earlier today that while we may say thank you a lot, we can never say it enough. And we're going to continue to need that. So with that one more thing, and you'll see this messaging throughout our pages today, but it's been agreed upon tonight that as of Thursday at 6 o'clock, we're going to be pausing all supply donations to the Summit Pickleball facility, and using the time that we have and the volunteers that we have to continue to work those supplies throughout the network of other sites, and directly to people, and directly to those in need. And that means even coordinating that with some other communities immediately around us. So again, you can read that if you go to the chamber page, you'll see how we've adjusted. We're still taking some things over the next couple of days, but on Thursday at 6 o'clock, we're going to kind of put the hard stop on donations for the time being. If we have a need that pops up, we know you're going to be there. We know that you're going to support us, and we certainly feel that. But we also want to be mindful of the supplies that we have in our community. Make sure that we've got places for all those things to go, and that we aren't just sitting here on an abundance of stock because, hey, you know what? There's another hurricane. There are another group of people in another part of the country, not far from here. Some of them are friends that come up here routinely. They're dealing with this challenge that we just went through, and we know what that's about. We want to make sure that we've got what we need, but that they can get what they need too. All right. So more messaging tomorrow. Thank you for hanging in there with us. I told you last night, just hang in there a little bit, and things are going to start moving in a positive direction. And the university doing what they did today, making that announcement and setting up several days for people to be able to make the adjustments to their schedule and, quite honestly, to their lives to make this happen is going to be helpful to all of us. So again, stay tuned to the Boone Area Chamber for more. We've got a lot of media folks around, some beautiful stories being told about the area you love so much and how people have responded for folks. And we look forward to amplifying some of those for you too in the days ahead. Take care. Good night, everybody.